see. Wow. Wow.
Alright, YouTube should be up and rolling. Alright. And we had echo there for a second because I didn't have it muted.
Echo.
We are good now, so welcome to the Foolish Tech Show. Thursday afternoon, mainly here to provide support, answer any questions for our products and services. Join us at our IRC chat at foolishtechshow.com. Got a couple ways you can join there, and feel free to interrupt whatever we may be talking about at the time. I think we should start off today's show with the platforms that we support.
Yes. That was my thought. Oh my.
So,
Better stop.
listing ones that we do support would be Windows, XP and above variants, including server OSs and home and professional versions.
That would be Microsoft Windows on PCs.
Yeah. x86 compliant systems. Systems we don't support are Macintosh, also known as Apple or iOS
or anything that you buy in and from an Apple store.
OS X. And
if you don't buy it in and from an Apple store, we support it. It's
well,
not a
we
phone.
don't support PlayStation, or we may support Xbox if you're hardy, but
we're not sure
we
about
don't
the
directly support Xbox ourselves. Yeah, so we also don't support Linux. If you're using Linux and you're trying to use our products, I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors on Linux. But we do support Windows, and we support Windows fairly well, I believe, actually. I think we're one of the last remaining companies that actually tries to support XP nowadays. Not many others do. Most of your major web browsers have even dropped it at this point. So
really,
not only are you using an outdated OS, you're also using an outdated browser.
No
security vulnerabilities of its own. So.
I don't have a problem as long as XP has Service Pack 3. I'm okay with it. We should be. Why not? There's really not a reason not to be.
This is probably because some browsers don't support Windows XP, but some ISPs are not supporting it as well.
Most people are not supporting it as well, and I think it's just a big push to try to get it out of the population, basically. Which I applaud. I don't think that XP should be on the internet. That's like saying you're running Windows 95 on the internet. Like, you probably just shouldn't be doing that. Sure, most of your stuff might work, maybe, possibly, but you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, it shouldn't be plugged into anything, right?
And I understand application-specific necessities and purposes, but again, those should not be free-flowing internet-connected devices that you use for everyday tasks. They should be specific use applications.
That's funny, because I'm about to specifically go back to developing on XP. Maybe 7. I don't know. Just light on the virtual machinage, you know.
Yeah.
I'm tossing around hundreds of gigs of Windows 10 virtual machines for no reason, you know, as the snapshots build up and whatnot.
Yeah, if I wasn't developing on my main system, I'd probably be using 7 myself.
That and, or yeah, the 3D whole whatever graphic thing.
But 7 is still supported, so. Yeah.
Looks like we do 7.
You don't need 3D graphics.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, so just thought we might get that out of the way. We've had a couple people wondering about that for some reason, but just wanted to throw it out there.
Well, they're not really wondering, to be fair.
But
I've seen some complaints lately. But
they're wondering.
well, they're
Contacting
complaining,
us
wondering.
and wondering, yeah.
Well, I don't know. We've both seen different ones, tickets and whatnot. But then again, mine is for software we don't even sell. You know, like what is Foolish IT? I didn't know we sold that. But I don't know why it won't install on a Mac. I'm sorry.
That is interesting. Yeah.
I don't know why your Mac tells you that it doesn't run Windows programs. Why wouldn't it? Hey, shoot. I should stop.
All right. Well, I'm going to start today off with a not safe for work thing.
Ah!
So my friend, the one that came up with the song Aluminum, pointed me to this video earlier today, and I thought it was worth sharing. It's by Trevor Moore, My Computer Just Became Self-Aware, and it is fairly
Has to
interesting.
do with porn, doesn't it?
He is searching for porn at the beginning of the song. But it also has drugs and aliens and other things in it. So
I can see this dollar bill trick as soon as I clicked on it. There's a powder of some sort on his keyboard. I'm not sure what that's about.
His laptop becomes self-aware, and it is an Apple, so it would not run our software. So of all the stuff it's downloading, it's probably not downloading our stuff.
Yeah, because we didn't want it to.
I suppose they could install Boot Camp and use our software that way, or Parallels if they wanted to. It would protect the virtualized PC software. So.
Sorry, the video is hilarious.
It is a good video.
I've not started it yet. I'm still looking at all of the apparatus around this.
I just like the list of things that the Apple Genius doesn't cover.
It's got some good stuff in there.
I still have children in the house for the moment.
So,
unless you want them to be exposed to everything you don't want them to be exposed to, play the video later. It's all in there.
It is definitely not safe for work. Or children, I would suppose you could say.
Yikes.
But it is good, and it is tech related, so there's that. I came across something else today. I had to install Outlook because I was tired of looking at a different screen to get to Outlook, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to set up an email in there, so I did not want to add an email address to be checked with Outlook every time I opened the program.
Right. You just want
yes, that is a pain in the butt in Outlook 2016.
Yeah, so
it is forceful.
I found a couple things that said you could do it by going into the old control panel and the mail icon and setting up a profile there. However, that is not all you need to do. That will help this process, so you have to go in and set up a profile and tell it not to create an email in there, because the old Outlook setup that you're used to, that you could have done this just going through Outlook, is there still. However, if you open up Outlook 2016, at least the latest version that I installed, it still prompts you for setting up an email account even after you do all that profile stuff. Come to find out, there is a command line parameter that you have to use. You use that command line parameter once you've set up that profile side, and then it will let you just open up Outlook and not worry about the email account being created.
Now you still have to do it in through the control panel, the whole.
I'm not positive about that because I did go ahead and do that, had done that already, but just doing that did not allow me to do this. And having the profile there made it so... Actually, no, you don't have to do the profile thing because when you do this, the way you open it, you'll actually be creating a profile. And then that profile will be what you use. And if you then open up an Outlook data file that's already there, so if you have a PST that has a whole bunch of emails in it, you can open that inside of that profile, close the default one that it creates for you after setting the one you opened as default, and then from that point on, it will no longer ask you to set up an email account there. So it is quite a hassle and pain to get Outlook to open without wanting it to check emails. But it can be done. So.
Awesome.
And I thought that parameter might help others. I also found this nice little interesting password strength visualization tool that people are putting out. Essentially, as you type in your password, the strength of it is visualized by pixelating a picture beside it. So the more scrambled and pixelated the picture is, the stronger your password is, and it helps visualize the connection between this is securing your data.
Can we just have a number, like KeyPass? Just gives us some bits. Bar.
You can just keep using KeyPass for it. But.
Oh yeah, I think I will.
They also use colors for theirs, so it's not just numbers on that. I found out about this app too, and I didn't try to download it or try it out yet, but it's a Android app to lock you out of your phone for 30 minutes if you use it too much, and it has quite a few options. You can set it to lock anywhere from 15 minutes to 3 hours, and basically if you use it for over a period of time, which I believe you can set as well, then it will lock your phone down so that you can't do anything other than answer calls, read notifications, or use the camera.
Wow.
The paid version lets you actually whitelist specific apps, but I thought this would be a fun thing to install on somebody's phone without them knowing.
Oh yeah.
So they're like just checking their phone too much.
Sounds like a good way to get someone to throw their phone across the room.
Yeah.
And sounds like a good way to get some tech support requests.
Yeah.
From your significant other.
But it also could be a good kid control.
Yeah, that was my thought. Do they have a version for the iOS?
Yeah, I don't know. I believe this one's only for Android, as far as I know.
The Who OS. There we go at that again.
That OS, one of those OSs we don't support.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it looks like an interesting one, especially for the kid usage. If they're using an Android device, you can make it so that they can't really use it too much if they use it for too long. Yeah, it's if your screen time passes 5 hours per day, or you unlock the device more than 12 times in an hour. is one of the main settings you can set. Thought that was a pretty interesting one.
Noodle.
And then exciting
5
news
o'clock.
for contacts.
What?
You can get contacts. The FDA just approved transition lens contacts.
Oh, because
cool.
I was like, kind of picking. I was like, you mean like in Windows 10 or Android?
No, not in those.
Oh. Well, can these transition to like white so you can be like that dude in that movie, I Come in Peace? Or
What dude? What movie?
Cyborg is another one. There's a couple, I Come in Peace, The alien, he was always like, I come in peace. And then he was just start killing people.
I do not know that one.
And then the guy was like, you go in pieces. The hero guy.
Do you know what this is, Proctor?
Man, y'all don't know any good cinema.
No, I don't.
What about Cyborg with Van Damme was in that one? There's a guy in that one with the white. All right, moving on.
Mood ring style color changing lenses. Is that one of the options that they want to do up there? That
That would be
cool.
pretty cool. You could go red.
My eyes turn red when you get angry.
Play a
would really help for the Hulk. Hey Hulk, your eyes are turning red. Calm down. Calm down now. Bannon, we need you to calm down. Well, in tragic news,
oh man, I'm just starting to laugh.
they had the first death in U.S. air flight this past week. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday or the day before. Southwest Airlines plane had the engine basically like fall apart while they're in midair, and it ended up pulling out a window. I think, but that wasn't why someone died. It was because they believe a person had a heart attack during it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the first deaths in U.S. air
That was
flight.
actually my first thought without clicking, or I didn't click on it, but that was actually my first thought was it would probably be a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty scary to see your engine falling apart in the air.
Yeah. And the window come off and what's going on.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting news that that's the first death. I think it was in like 9 years.
That's what Wesker said. 9.
Yeah, first fatality in 9 years, and that kind of gives you a great example of how much safer flying in an airplane is. Why you shouldn't be scared to the point where you have a heart attack when flying in a situation like that is because that's the first fatality in 9 years. Like, how many people die every day from car wrecks? I know
that it is statistically less likely to die on an airplane, but if something really bad goes wrong with the airplane, the result is probably going to be really bad.
I mean, statistically, not really. Like, the engine fell apart in air.
Yeah.
Like, if your engine falls apart while you're driving down the highway, then yes, you know what? You're probably going to die in that. If you're driving in a car and your engine falls apart at 70 miles an hour, you're probably going to die at that point.
I had a transmission fall out at 140 one time, and I was just fine.
That's not your whole engine.
Wow.
That's not your engine falling apart.
No.
I might have been doing 60 or 65 when my water pump blew. that time. I don't know. I was half asleep, to be honest with you. I missed my exit because I was asleep. And then when I woke up, all I could see was smoke anyway, because it's just smoke coming out. I lived.
Well, I know that the driving part is much scarier because we do a lot of driving, and they have a tendency to put up how many deaths have happened in like the past year on the interstate. Nowadays, it's a big trend with all of them, and we'll go down to the South Georgia, and it'll be at like 500 deaths this past year, and then we'll come back like a week later, and it's up to 700 deaths this past year. Like
Dang.
it jumps dramatically. So,
I had two things to say about what Wester just said. He said that you don't have any control over the plane thing where you do in a car.
Yeah.
I had two things to say about that. Fatality rate is much like higher, I understand, in trains. You don't have any control over that either. You're on the ground. But so just versus the whole plane thing. But then like actual automobiles, I would argue that you have the illusion of control. I don't really think you have the control that you think you do in an automobile. I mean, granted, you have more, but I think any confidence in that control is more or less an illusion. When you have to consider you have no control over anyone else who's in the automobiles around you.
Or any other kind of road hazard as well.
Yeah, and plus people tend to put too much confidence in themselves on ability.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're still alive, so why not, right? But
I would believe that trains are probably more deadly.
yeah.
The train,
I think they are. That's really weird and be shocking. But.
Well, I mean, train wreck. If a train wrecks, it's not exactly like designed for wrecking. Like cars have a whole lot of safety features for wrecks, and planes have a whole lot of safety features for wrecks. Every time I've seen a train wreck, it's been like either if that car crashed, then it killed people. Like if the car got messed up in a train, like a train car got messed up, then people in that train car were probably dead. Like there was no safety mechanisms there. It's no airbags.
I always feel like you could jump off of the train, you know, and just like do a roll and be safe.
I guess that's why when something really bad happens, they relate it to being a train wreck.
Good point. Good point. Good point. Yeah. No, as far as being in cars, and that's the thing that most people tend to forget, and it is other people's control that I'm more worried about than mine. You know, I can have all the confidence in the world in my own, but it's someone else's that is such a problem. Even if you are the problem, like if you are the guy who says, I can drink and drive, well, maybe you can. But there's this other guy on the road who's probably not even drinking. He's just a bad driver, and he's going to get in your way and make you do something bad that you're not anticipating. So, yeah, cars are bad. Yeah. Confidence is worse.
People are bad.
People are bad.
That's what my mom always said. She was like, Brantley, you're just not a good driver. And I was like, Mom, I am an excellent driver. It's the other people on the road that are not good drivers. And I just happen to run into them more often than not. Which is why I drive at night, because there's less people on the road. And she's like, it is crazy that you're driving all night. And I'm like, no, it is far safer, far better in every aspect that I'm driving at night. There's 5 cars on the road versus 150 on the road in front of me. So, well, speaking of train wrecks, Russia recently tried to block the Telegram messenger because of its end-to-end encryption, and they refuse to have servers in Russia that they can monitor and attack and take over and plant stuff in. So in the attempts to block Telegram, Russia has basically blocked a crap ton of services and things not related to Telegram. Essentially, it blocked a whole blocks of IPs owned by Google and Amazon, which a lot of services use Google and Amazon to host their stuff. And since, like, if you're running on an Amazon server, then you're probably have an Amazon IP address, and that Amazon IP address probably got blocked in this because they were just like, block this entire subdomain set or IP range. So
Yeah, it's Russia.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, there was quite a few places that got hit because of it. I think a few gaming services got hit with it, and then some Google services got hit with it. Quite a few things they blocked when they were just trying to block this one app. There was something else though. Do I have it still? Yeah, so part of this may be what Google just also took out, which is called domain fronting. Apparently, the Google App Engine used to allow you to basically use google.com as a proxy address, and this got around blocks basically. So this got around censorship from government states and stuff because they couldn't just block google.com because how many services and how much life consuming Google is nowadays. Other services were able to use google.com as the proxy address for their service, like Signal, Tor, and some other items. And probably Telegram was one of them, which is probably why they ended up blocking Google like that. But Google said that they changed their network so they don't allow this anymore, and it kind of hurts those anti-censorship tools. So Iranians basically just said governments aren't allowed to use Telegram at all. They didn't block anything, so they just basically said, we built you a new end-to-end encryption server, use this instead. Related to that, though, it looks like Opera is shutting down its VPN for iOS and Android. I don't know if they're going to do it for their desktop browser as well. But this was an interesting point. I didn't know that apparently Opera is has a major stake by a Chinese company.
Oh.
And that's why they believe that Opera decided to nix the VPN, because VPNs are almost to the point of illegal in China now because of the Great Wall of China and being able to circumvent that with VPNs. So I know, Nick, you're a big Opera fan now. It's owned by a Chinese company, so might be censored or your data being stored in China.
By? Well, I already know my data is being scrutinized. I mean, it's still Google that's financing it. And it's Google technology that it runs on. I just didn't know it was Google.China.
Yeah. That's what they didn't, like, they don't own it entirely from what I understood. I think it was that they had a major stake in Opera itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't the announced reason why they disconnected it either. It was just a guess, I guess. So.
Well, that must be why it updated. I think it updated. I used the portable version. I think it was talking about it updated the other day. I opened it. I don't know what that was about, but, and I haven't looked because I don't use it, but the one that I have installed, that's the system default, has like all the stuff on, and I don't use it for really anything unless I click something that I didn't mean to click on. Well, that one has, I forget what I did the other day, and I was downloading something. I was like, all right, I'll do that. Even though it's super slow because I had the VPN thing checked on it. It was not super slow the other day. I was like, oh.
Well, they, like I said, I
guess I could look.
They didn't say anything specifically about the desktop version, so that one is probably still up and running. These were specifically for the Android and iOS apps that provided VPNs for phones.
Let me look. I mean, it is running a lot faster than it was. Then again, I might have just disabled it. I don't know.
And maybe that's because they took off all of the phone users, because phones use a crap ton of data.
They could be.
They ping crap.
Oh yeah, it's enabled. Yeah. I guess so. Well, maybe that's it. Yay.
So they made it faster for their desktop users. That's good.
Yeah. I don't normally use this one anyway. It's just the system default. It's there if I accidentally don't open something in the browser that I want to.
Well, the VPN on there is interesting. I'm not a big advocate of using that since it's a free VPN and you can't really trust that. And it basically is just for circumventing things. I wouldn't trust it for privacy or not tracking or logging.
Well, and that's it. It's just like you circumvent things.
Yeah.
Like things.
I mean, you're not circumventing anything that could get back at you here.
That's beside the point. Like when it works and it wouldn't otherwise, that's what I'm talking about.
So Wesker says the origin of the Opera VPN was as a data saver for early smartphones on limited data plans. Now, Chrome does have a data saving feature, which I'm sure was brought over to Opera in its rewrite. Basically, it uses a Google server as a proxy, so you send your request to that server, and that server downloads the page and then compresses it and sends it to your phone from there. So. VirtualBox is gone. What? Yeah, I'm not sure if that's. I mean, it may be how they came up with the VPN thing. I don't know if that was how they did the VPN thing. VirtualBox was removed from FreeNAS. Interesting. You can't compile it from source on your own there? Thought you could do that still. I guess some of the other things you couldn't, but and Pi-hole didn't have an option for that? Yeah, the things that I look at, looks like you want to use a jail to store and run instances of web-based software. Interesting. Sure, if you want to look into this, Shoot. You might just be able to set up a jail on your FreeNAS and run it from there. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, you're right. They do not support FreeBSDs, which FreeNAS is based off of. So, and I couldn't get FreeNAS to run on my HP server, so I don't know. Other interesting news, though, is Windows Defender is now a Chrome extension. Apparently, they're bringing their phishing protection to Chrome. So, Windows Defender browser protection. Basically, you can enable it or disable it, and it blocks or defends against phishing attacks. They say it's similar and or the same to what Microsoft Edge uses. And the company cites a 2017 study by NSS Labs in which Edge blocks 99% of all phishing attacks, while Chrome and Firefox only blocked 87 and 70% respectively. So they decided they'd be nice and give you the Defender abilities in Chrome, which it's basically web page monitoring. So I think it was just a way for Windows to get more data about your browsing habits since you're using third-party browser, but that's just me, I guess.
I can see that, but
I thought this was interesting. Proctor, the webcam you use is battery powered, right? Proctor? Proctor can't hear me. Proctor's muted. Nope, he can't hear us. Anyway.
Maybe his head thingy died again. Yeah. He doesn't know it.
Apparently Anchor is coming out with a security camera. Possibly it's going to Kickstarter. I really do dislike
I thought you said it's going to kick.
It's going to
something,
which I dislike large companies using things like that. It's not. I don't know. I don't think that's what they should be doing to create and gauge product usage. But either way, they want to develop a webcam that has a year battery life, up to 365 days on a single charge. That's pretty interesting. It would be wireless, but I do like the way it would attach magnetically, kind of, and you can point and direct it. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, so I wonder if that comes out good. I mean, coming from Anchor, I would hope it would be fairly good, since the majority of the products they make do end up being that way. So, other sad news today. Microsoft is discontinuing development of the desktop version of OneNote. OneNote 2016.
There's another version?
Is the last desktop version that they're going to incorporate. It will be supported, I think, until like 2022 or 23, somewhere around that. 2020. So yeah, so there's a little bit of time left for support and updates for it. But they're basically pushing the Windows 10 Windows Universal app or whatever Basically, they're pushing the Windows Store version of OneNote going forward from now. But you'll still get updates for the desktop variant till 2020, but they're not going to be including it with Office anymore, which sad date indeed.
Well, hey, I mean, they haven't. It's been separate from Office. It's been like then now you don't have to install Office, kind of thing.
And they give
so,
it away
yeah,
for free to everybody.
yeah, it's free. I mean, so it's actually it's been a win-win for a while now. So yeah.
I'm just disappointed that they're taking away the desktop one. I do prefer the desktop one itself over the Windows one, but I'm going to try out the Windows one, see if it handles the syncing and updating, because I have noticed a lot more that the desktop version doesn't acts a little bit weird on especially pages that we have where there's a lot of information on. So
I've had issues with searches lately.
That's just a Windows search issue. You actually have to go in and rebuild your search every now and then. Basically,
it just started recently. I hadn't had any problems ever, but recently I've had issues.
Yeah, I've had random issues with it, search as well. But if you pull up the search options, change search options for files and folders. Wait, no, that's not it. What is the option for that? Yeah, control panel and then indexing options. If you go into that and then advanced and then rebuild the index, that helps with Windows search in general, files, OneNote, Outlook. All of those services rely.
I was complaining about that the other day. You were like, "I do that." I was like, "Oh yeah."
It does take a good minute for it to complete, but once it does, it does improve your search stuff for at least a little while, and then you end up having to do it again. So, very rarely you'll end up having to remove the Outlook or Office or OneNote thing and then re-add it. But it's been very rare that I've had to do that. But yeah, Windows search acts really funky. So,
yeah, for a while it wouldn't let me search for things that I had in parentheses.
That's weird. I don't know if I've ever
then
tried to search for things in parentheses.
I've never had good luck with Windows search.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember when it was like Google Desktop search engine.
Yeah,
Google Desktop.
That was great.
Yeah, it was actually not as good. There was one that was better. It was like it started with a C. It was you had to pay for it.
I don't know. As far as searching files and folders now, I really enjoy the everything.
This one searched like, this one did PDFs, it did like images, it's all kind of crazy stuff. A bunch of attorney clients used it, obviously, PDFs and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of it was. So.
Corna, CONCOR, something, search. Look for that. I actually thought about getting a copy for a while.
I said parentheses earlier. I meant quotation marks.
Copernic. That's the one.
Copernic.
There we go.
That rings a bell, actually.
There we go. That's the one right there. That was super bad. Way better than... But it was like money.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. It looks like,
See?
I guess it's still going, though.
Yeah, it's definitely still going. Yeah, because that was the PST, all that stuff. Lotus. That was nice. Anyway, never mind. But y'all, that actually is a really sweet software package if y'all got clients that need to search for stuff all the time like that.
Supports a lot, too.
Yeah.
Well,
Some they use it was like CAD. It's or something in like CAD files or something. It's weird. What do you think about that?
yeah, I like everything. It is super fast and affordable. I really enjoy using it on my system. So eBay came out with an interesting update recently. Their eBay app now is able to use barcodes to scan and list your item. I thought that was pretty cool. And I haven't heard of a lot of updates coming out of eBay recently. So
eBay. What's that?
place where you get ripped off buying products.
Oh, I thought it was just the name in front of everyone's domain name that they tended to pay with. Their email address, eBay at soandso.com. Really?
I've had pretty good luck purchasing things on eBay as long as you choose a reputable seller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, don't buy like Windows licenses on there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when they email them to you right away.
Yeah.
And be wary about buying video cards off of there.
Yikes.
Their app though is really awesome. I've done the barcode thing, and it's really the app it really is very helpful in listing your items.
Imagine it would be.
I would say it's easier to list your item with your phone than it is to list it with your computer.
People are using Facebook these days.
Yeah,
Like I was like, their
marketplace is turning into a bunch of ads.
I'd heard some about the marketplace, but I think Jade has just used like a local group or something where people just.
Yeah, they have those. Those were there prior to the marketplace, but they have an actual full-blown marketplace where people post stuff. But Proctor is correct; it is turning into a lot more of just mainly car dealerships using it to post all the cars that they have and people looking through there for it. But
wow,
the Facebook one's aggravating because there's basically no rules or regulations, and people put things up there for free. And then you contact them about it, and they're like, yeah, it'll be $800 for that. And you're like, posted it for free. They're like, oh, well, I didn't know how it works. It's $800. So.
I've seen that a lot where it said free.
Contact you and find out about it, and then you charge them for it.
Yeah,
there's
I've
always
seen things listed for free a lot when it's a custom service or something, and then down the description they'll say, contact us for a quote or something like that.
There's always something like that. Like they say they allow pets and they don't. I hate that.
Yeah, Amazon just announced that they have 100 million Prime subscribers. That is a ton. Just think of that. At $99 on average a pop. That's 100 million a year they're making off just Prime.
Shoot, they've already done this. Just they already have. So I had to curb my Amazon spending. I think I've only bought like a bag of coffee. I used to buy everything on Amazon a couple of years ago. I was buying everything on Amazon, like TP and like dish detergent. Actually, no, I bought a bag of coffee and a thing of dish detergent this year. So 2 bags of coffee.
I actually do still buy that stuff because it's easier to buy that in bulk on Amazon and have it delivered.
Well, Amazon makes the brand of coffee I'm drinking, so what can I say or whatever? They're behind that one anyway. It's like Amazon dark.
if you're buying TP and toilet or paper towels and things like that, like if you go to a grocery store, you have to get like a whole second cart just to carry around if you wanted to buy those in bulk. But getting those on Amazon, it's much easier. Most of the bathroom supplies, things like that, I get on Amazon too.
I'm going to tell you what, buying soap on Amazon is awfully confusing. Bar soap. Because there's a quantity in the pack. Well, see, that's the problem, though. You're buying the wrong soap, apparently, because they don't have as many in the pack. Or there's like a quantity in the pack, but then there's a quantity of packs per container. And then, usually, there's quantity of containers per box. So you want to talk about deceptive advertising? Anywho, I'm talking about like the plain white stuff. I'm talking about the plain white bar soap, and you click the drop down, and then there's like, 30 of the item.
I did see that. There's a bunch of
and it looks like the same item. Anyway, but yeah, so forget that. But I do still get the coffee because they make that brand, and it's super cheap. And you can't find bean coffee at the Food Line down the road. It doesn't exist. You have to buy the grounds. I don't want the grounds. I want the beans.
Well, I also have found that the only place that matches prices like Amazon to the point where they actually undercut Amazon is Walmart. I've looked up several products in Walmart and been like, oh, it's actually cheaper to buy it here at Walmart than it is to buy it on Amazon. And I think that's intentional.
I've seen a few things, like when I was doing the K-Cup coffee, like their Green Mountain, which I thought was like an Amazon type brand or something after a while.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was Keurig or something, whatever. But Walmart was selling it for like the exact same price. It wasn't cheaper, but it was like the same price. Wow.
Yeah, I think Walmart is doing that just to fight against Amazon. They still can't get their web interface up to par, but well, last thing I had was
well, you know what their web interface looks like? I'm sorry, the web interface for Walmart looks like the store. It's like if you gotta go there, you gotta go there. But if you have a choice and you're shopping online, come on, why are you gonna go to Walmart?
Yeah, it does. You're right. That is an accurate description of Walmart's website. It's like searching the store. The search bar is like asking one of the people too where something is. You type in your search and hit search, and then it runs away after it points you in the direction. It's like, what? This is not where I wanted to be. How did I get here? What? Who brought me here?
They just tell me, I don't know, and then they look at me like they don't work there.
I'm not sure what that is, but I think it's over there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean, the Walmart and the it's like the extra items and the overstock on the shelves and stuff's in disarray. That's their website. Yeah.
It is pretty much an accurate description.
Okay, now you can move on.
Okay. For a discussion topic, I got another make use of. They had reasons to buy used PCs. And I thought this was kind of interesting. Some of the reasons they pointed out is you probably don't need so much power. I can agree with that in most situations. However, if I'm usually looking at getting a new PC, I'm looking at something that's going to last. So I kind of am teetering on that one. You can find used systems that are still at the point where they'll give you another 3 to 5 years, but usually if you go for a brand new top of the line system, you'll usually get 7 to 10 years out of that PC realistically.
I'm going on year 5 of what I built.
Yeah.
I think 4 or 5, and I'm doing just fine.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, like on that, like I don't, maybe I should just click on the article while you talk. I was just going to say, like, I guess what's going to happen though is there are components in that PC that are going to break down, you know, after a while. So you also have to take that into account. Like, am I getting too much power for even like for a new PC that's going to be dead? You know, never mind. I'm just all right. There was a thought there. I've lost it.
Well, that is going to be a risk on buying something used, is especially fans are going to break down. Drives, if they've been used a lot, you're probably going to have to replace those. Now, that is the better side of that, though, is those are two of your cheaper common things to be able to easily replace after you've bought a used system. Replacing all the fans or replacing the hard drive right off is fairly simple and easy to do. Your CPU, RAM, motherboard, those devices usually have a longer lasting rigidity to them. So
resilience.
Those are usually fairly okay on buying used. Power supply might be iffy, but depends on what the system was used for prior to that, maybe. But again, power supply is fairly cheap, not exactly easy to replace.
I really read that as power supply versus demand because of what you were saying. I was like, power supply versus demand. I remember selling used systems for a while was the thing to do, and then it wasn't all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people went more towards the throwaway, which it could be that it's a cycle where people end up thinking it's throwaway time, and you end up having a lot of used components hit the market, which brings those prices down, and then people are like, why would I buy something new when I can get something almost as good used for a fourth of the price? So
hey man, I got that. I took a 23-inch touchscreen Lenovo to ChannelCon in 2013, and just all in one unit, and I got it just for that. And I'm gonna tell you, like, well, it just died the other day, but that was the SSD I put in it afterwards. But still, like, I'm still using that thing, and I got it from outlet.lenovo.com for like 100 and some change in 2013. You know, that's good. Yeah, I'll take a used PC. It depends on what you need it for, you know.
Well, that's the next point on here is you could save a lot of money. So there's that.
And get something exotic like you never thought you'd have, like a 23-inch touchscreen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though that could end up breaking your shin one day. Isn't that the one that you broke your shin on? Or almost broke it?
I never broke my shin. I have hurt myself with it. It was it's very heavy. I have really messed up my toe with it a few times.
Yeah. I remember it was, I think when you first moved in there, like it was sitting right beside the bed, and you got out of bed one day and you ended up complaining about it for the next week and a half that you had bashed your shin into it.
Yeah. I'm still not going to throw that thing away. Shoot. SSD died in it. I'm just waiting for the next thing, you know, hanging on to it. I can only put 8 gig of RAM in it, but hey. Sounds all right.
So this next one is an interesting point, I thought. You may start using your PCs longer. So essentially what it's saying here is that if
I have kombucha in the fridge. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We have a kombucha thing. It's starting to stink up the kitchen a little bit, but it's time for a change.
Essentially what this point is saying is that basically if you use older hardware, that you'll you'll get used to using older hardware, and you'll be more likely to continue using older hardware. I think that point was a little bit reaching there.
That is reaching. I'm getting used to running older hardware ever so slowly as my hardware becomes older. But I like the gradual approach. Rather than going straight into it.
Well, I mean, really, if you have a PC within the past, I would say almost 4 CPU generations of Intel, that you really don't have any reason to upgrade. They are not much faster. They're not much stronger. You'd be better off at upgrading individual components. Like, I do not see a difference between my DDR4 system versus my DDR3 system. Like, I see no speed difference that's like applicable to my everyday usage. I do see it between the NVMe drive versus an SSD drive, but that's about the only speed difference that I see. And to support that, you could get a PCI Express card that can support an NVMe drive. So,
there's some caveat to that.
For what?
The PCI Express card. There's some issue there, and I don't remember. I discussed it with Michael, and I went over it a couple times. I looked into it, and then I realized that it would do me no good to do that. It would be It would just be a waste of money. I forget why. Maybe it was an issue with the limitation of the PCI Express that is on the same board and chipset that you would not be able to use the drive with by itself or something like that. I forget what the deal was, but
from my understanding, it would just be limited on what PCI Express generation you have. So if you don't have the Gen 3 or Gen 4 PCI Express, then
I want to say there's a 0.1 involved in here somewhere, or a point something.
I think they had 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I don't know what 0.1s they had, but
maybe it's one. I don't know, but well, I think that was the issue that I ran into, was that I'm just under on that. So but if I had the required PCI generation or chipset or whatever, then I would also have already the capability of using the drive.
Yeah, more than likely having the ability
without the need of the card. So it was like the card was pointless or something.
So it looks like that might be it. It depends. If you have a PCI Express 2, then that one's 500 megabytes per second bandwidth, which is what SATA is limited to. So PCI Express 3 can get up to 1,000 megabits per second, and what is 4? 4, I think, would be the one to go for. Oh, this one only goes.
See, I'm just like, I think blah 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 blah. Moving on. Sorry. I'm the tech in here, aren't I? It's been a while for hardware and me.
I can see that. Anyway, there is a point, obviously, that would be where you wouldn't want to use a PCI Express card because your hardware wouldn't have it. It could be that your hardware wouldn't have the NVMe drive if you don't have that, or it would if you have the other one. So the next two options are, again, stretches. You can break free from the spending cycle and invest your money differently. I don't know if those are real things for used systems, but I would say looking in at used is not that bad of an option, mainly because you can get basically a system that you can upgrade the other more expensive parts, and spend the additional money that it costs right now. So if you go out and get a system that is 2 or 3 generations back on the CPU, so if you get a 66,000 generation, 7,000 generation processor, then you can spend your money on upgrading the video card and RAM in it. And right now, those two pieces of hardware are extremely overpriced. RAM is at a ridiculous price point to get upgraded if you want that. And video cards, we know, are extremely overpriced. So basically buying a used system, upgrading the RAM and video card could work out better in your favor, because you'd be saving on the generic pieces like your power supply, motherboard, processor, and hard drive possibly, and then you could spend the extra on video card and RAM, which basically would end up being like what a new system would end up costing in the first place. So.
Well, I've always preferred to build my own computers, and I've always preferred to sell custom built computers so I can have control over the quality. I've always liked them over name brand systems. Not that there aren't name brand systems that put together quality computers, and the brands also sell more of a consumer grade product, and then they also have a more of a commercial grade product that is higher quality. One of the things I was struggling with selling computers was that people could go to Walmart and buy a $300 computer, but a custom built computer is a $700 computer.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get people to spend more than double the money, but if you can sell them a good quality commercial grade refurbished computer for similar price as the cheap computer, that's literally a cheap computer, its price is cheap, its components are crap, then it's a lot easier to make the sale.
Well, I know Johnny.
I've been selling a lot of refurbs for that reason.
Yeah.
Johnny ran into that exact issue because she really wanted a desktop, and I'm like, you have a more than adequate laptop for what you use it for, and you have monitors hooked up to this laptop, and it all works great. Why do you need a desktop so bad? And she's like, I just really want a desktop. So she goes out to Best Buy and buys a $300 desktop and brings it home, and we're returning it 2 days later because it's terribly slow and inefficient, and not even a fourth of what her laptop was. So like, when you see that big of a difference between the two, you can really tell where that price comes in. So it may be even beneficial of you having one of those $300 computers there, and then maybe showing them the solitaire test, because I bet you would actually see a difference.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
You launch solitaire on that $300 system from Best Buy there, and I'll launch it on our $700 custom system here. We'll see who gets there first. You probably would actually see a difference, because the biggest thing there is a lot of those systems, and I'm not bashing AMD, because the new stuff that AMD is coming out with is a lot nicer for productivity and workload related things, but that's not what you're getting in the $300 systems. You're getting an AMD that's a couple generations old now, and it's only a few cores, and AMD just hasn't been there for that, but they have been there for budget pricing. So that's what you end up getting. And she's like, when we were looking at the one there, I was like, you're not going to like that. I can tell you're not going to like it. And she was like, but it's got 4 processors in it. And I was like, yeah, but it's an AMD one that's not even close to what this Intel one is that costs $800, $900 over here. I was like, trust me, I can tell you the Intel ones are going to be a lot better. And turns out I was right. We ended up returning those computers. So, I am excited
I have enough bug spray on my feet.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I am excited to see AMD coming out with newer processors. They just had their launch of the second Ryzen generation today. So they are a lot better in workload if you have things that use multiple cores, like video processing and stuff like that. The AMD ones beat the Intel all around, hands down. Intel still beats it out in clock speeds and cores, but yeah. Later, Shook. Have a great day as well. All right, well, that's all I got for today. Do y'all have anything you want to talk about? Going once?
I'm good.
No twice?
I think I'm ready for a bathroom break.
All right. We'll stop the streams before we get into those streams. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back on Tuesday. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you all later.